I'm Allie. I like to explore esoteric concepts through my marker drawings and acrylic paintings. This was a recent drawing I did called A Family Portrait, and I wanted to just explain it a little bit because I think a lot of people got it, but some people were confused. So when the center line is my family's actual reality and lived experience on this 3D plane. The red represents my husband, the father, and the purple represents me. I chose red for my husband because red is the color of the root chakra. It's security, safety, and groundedness, which is so him. He is so safe and such a provider of those lower chakra stability types of things for me. And I chose purple for me because it's more representative of the crown chakra and maybe sort of liking to live up in the astral, more intuitive, more empathic, but maybe not as the shadow side of that being not as grounded and not as good at those like 3D very human things that are necessary for survival. And together I think we're a nice pair. But yeah, so how the lines started were with us meeting as friends. And then you see here, somebody the question was, do the lines mean anything or are they just random? And they do mean something. So how it worked was that we met and we were kind of apart. And then we became friends and started dating and we were together. And then I moved literally across the world to Korea. And this is where our lines split. And in that moment, we could have not wound up together, right? And all of the lines going off of the main lines are parallel timelines. I'm a big believer in the multiverse and the idea of infinite parallel timelines, that there is only now, and any life, anything that we want, any desire we have, we just need to align to that version of ourselves that already exists. So in that moment where I geographically moved quite literally across the world to South Korea, we were, our lines split, our lines completely split. And these parallel timelines in the picture represent sort of other ways that it could have gone. And if I was doing a large scale version of this on like a huge canvas, I would have had because it's infinite. So there would have been so much more and so much more expansion and fading. But how I use these dips these are moments when parallel versions of ourselves made decisions that collapsed timelines and led us back to each other. And those could have happened at any point in any way because there are infinite versions. This is my sort of scaled down version of that. So after we geographically moved apart, we did collapse all these timelines and step into versions of ourselves that were together. I think that when we have soul contracts with certain people, and he definitely is my soul person, we are magnetized to those people who we have contracts and agreements with. So in that moment, so we inevitably were going to magnetize back to each other, and we did. This is obviously the trajectory of all of this is also much longer, right? This is stripped down. It is not to scale, as they say. So here then I have where my kids came into the picture. So pretty quickly after I moved back from Korea, we moved in together and we had my daughter, and I picked blue for her, blue being representative of like the throat chakra, and she's so her own person, so speaks her truth, so much confidence, and so much magic in being able to tell like it is, really, truly. She's 9. So that's what I picked for her with the golden light. And here were parallel timelines of the kids, of each child, of when they could have kind of come down, when their soul could have magnetized in. Then I had a miscarriage kind of in between. My kids are all 3 years apart, so those are spaced evenly, sort of on purpose. And in between having my daughter and my middle son, I had a miscarriage, and I represented that with this paler color because the soul contract there was to come in and quickly leave, but they are still so a part of my imprint and my journey that they needed to be a part of this quantum representation of my family portrait. So here was the first miscarriage. Then my little guy, my middle son, came in. He's 6 now. I chose green for him because green is the color of the heart chakra, and his energy, he is just so heart-led, so heart space, just pure heart. Everything he does, how he leads, he is just, that's all I need to say about that. So for him, I used paler greens to represent other times he may have come in, right? And there is sort of an overlap and some sort of soul agreement between this miscarriage and him right there. So he came back down. Again, the parallel lifetimes continued here of potential spots where we might have pulled apart, where different trajectories might have happened, but we collapsed it in. I kept it tight because we are a constellation. Like the 5 of us in this 3D experience are this tight constellation. So we do travel through the plane together. I think our parallel timelines are also very concentrated and close and interwoven because we are meant to be together, just as I think every family is, and every soul contracts that are meant to be are going to stay tight with each other. Then in between my middle son and my youngest son, I had 3 miscarriages, and they're represented here. There's a lot of like parallel timelines happening of when those might have happened, why did they happen, what were the soul contracts there, and what were they teaching me. And that's why I think that I also put these 2 kids on this side, like kind of on my husband's side. They just do look more like him, which is why I chose to put them there. And I just think that they were kind of coming in a more grounded way, in sort of more of a way of, I just feel the ancestral lines are stronger, even though, of course, like literally scientifically, the DNA is that they're 50-50 of me and him, of my husband and I, but this felt right. Like this, if you get it, you get it. Like, if you know, like they came in to work on ancestral line things on my husband's side. But my son, Charlie, he physically looks the most likely like me. He's 3 now. And he also, like me, is highly intuitive and just like less grounded, more in, like you can just tell, like his upper chakras are just so alive and so online. And I picked indigo for him. I kind of have this brief loose understanding of like the indigo children. I think that the kids coming into the world these days are just so much more intuitive and so much more awakened to these sort of woo-woo, for lack of a better word, abilities. And indigo just is so the right color for him. Indigo sort of being like the color I associated with the 3rd eye chakra. A strong golden light. He came after all of these miscarriages, and I had actually, we were like, maybe our constellation is not meant to have 3 kids. And then he came, and it was just this like absolutely stunning birth. He was born en caul. He was born in, which, if you know what that is, he was born in the amniotic sac. It's extremely rare. And in like mythology and lore is said to mean that they will have like clairvoyant abilities, and that they're more closely connected to the veil. So yeah, that's him. That's where he came in. His color is very dark. because when his imprint like kind of came on top of the family, like that really was the completion of our constellation, and um of him being here. And my daughter's like lighter blue, this kind of pulling away in these parallel timelines. We've been going through a time of struggle right now, and that is sort of representative of that. But then also how the actual timeline of like what we are living in this 3D presence is so tight, because those challenges that have been coming in, we've collapsed timelines and aligned to the situation in our reality right now, where it has brought us closer together and it has woven our constellation tighter. And our lived reality is the sum. Number one is the sum of our decisions, and number two, it's who we align with. Our timelines weave together to create a strong and deep, they create the collective timeline. And as you can see, I represent this stuff through drawing and through art because I do fundamentally understand it, but can't always find the words to explain it. And so this is where the art and the drawing comes in. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. The lines are not random. The colors are not random. It was all very intentional. The only sort of randomness is when I'm doing the parallel timelines, they are just intuitively drawn. I don't know where I'm going to put a dip. I don't know where I'm going to collapse. I don't know when things are going to jump, because we can't know, right? And that is a representation of that in itself, is like the endless possibilities, the endless changes in course and micro decisions of every single moment shifting what we're experiencing and what we do consider to be real. I'm definitely going to be exploring way more of this through my art. If you don't already follow me, I hope you'll stick around. And if there's if there's a concept that you are interested in that you would like me to explore, love esoteric rabbit holes, so please let me know below. A few people have done that. I've got a list going. I'm excited you're here. It was a long one. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Love you, bye.